Everybody, hello. This is Spurs 9501. This is our latest Friday Night Fan Cam. I've got regulars Cam in Florida and Adam in Basingstoke with us. So, welcome everybody. We're going to get a few other people to join as well. Whenever you can, please join the stream, ask your questions. Let's make this a nice discussion. And thankfully, we've got something nice to talk about today, which is a win of Vitesse. Let's firstly talk about the formation that he played. Cam, let's come to you, and then we'll go to Adam. What did you think about his formation? Was it to be expected, 3-5-2?
I was just reading up about Conte's always played a 3-5-2 from his days back at Juventus, from his days back at AC Milan. Italy played a 3-5-2. Sometimes he plays a 3-4-3, but there's no surprises there. So we would expect him to put it in place straight away, and it was very interesting the way that it worked out, right?
Yeah. Adam, were you happy to see the 3-5-2 formation?
Yeah, I was, and I didn't think for the time the team had to prepare and stuff like that, and Conte's appointment and this game coming up, I didn't think we'd done that bad in that formation. I didn't expect fireworks and stuff like that, even though there was fireworks in that game. I thought we'd done quite well.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, I was very happy to see. I mean, obviously he's only had 2 days to train with the guy, so it's not really a great performance. But thank you very much, Silence. Good evening to you. Thanks for joining the stream. I think Conte will win us trophies this season. What do you think, Cam? Do you think we can actually win something this season?
I mean, I think that we can. Everything's up for grabs. We're not out of any competition right now, as far as I can see.
Except the Premier League.
I mean, you know what? I think with Premier League, I mean, the strength of Chelsea right now is going to get us. Liverpool are very, very strong. I mean, Manchester City, what's going on there? I mean, their performance against Brighton, the loss to Crystal Palace, they seem to be, very hot and cold. And the other teams around us, of West Ham, I mean, apart from those two, sure, I think Conte can take any of those on as long as he gets the signings that he needs in January. So top four is definitely up there. Maybe a bit. Well, I'm not happy as Conte's manager. I've never been happier, to be honest with you. Never been happier.
You're more happier when you got married, are you?
I mean, I was very happy when Bale came back, and I'm probably happier that Conte's manager. And on the basis that can anyone beat one of the world's best managers out there? I mean, the record speaks for itself. What really impressed me about Conte is that he was there, less than 48 hours? He already put a stamp on the team. He had them all training afterwards. Apparently, they had to train really hard. Most of those players were called back in yesterday morning to train really hard. And the training regime is something that they're just not used to. So
what about you, Adam? I know it's a what do you think? Are you really happy? The best we could have got?
Yeah, without a doubt. Spurs always have some sort of way of getting marquee signings, and he was a massive marquee signing in my books. Probably the best manager out there, bar Guardiola, and maybe Pochettino in some opinions, but fantastic, absolutely fantastic that we've got him. You can already see, like Cam said, he's put a stamp on the team, and some of the players that probably aren't used to how he's going to train them and how he's going to work them. And like I said last week, there's nowhere for them to hide, really. So it's going to be interesting to see how the team changes over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Silence, what do you think? We will answer your question, but tell us what you think as well. So, guys, do you think the partnership with Conte and Pachi will get rid of the deadwood that like Ali, Lo Celso, Bergwijn, Davis? Well, that's a good question. Very good question. Adam, who do you think didn't do themselves any good by the performances yesterday? Who would you think, you ain't going anywhere with Conte? Did anybody come out?
Do you know what I thought was interesting? Usually when a new manager comes in, the first match, every single player will play out their skin. They will play out their skin, and it will look like the team's never had any issues, always, because they want to keep their place and stuff like that. The game showed how many issues we had and how many players just underperform or panic. So it definitely raised questions on quite a few of them. Definitely Davis, definitely Dyer. Who else did I think had quite a poor game? I think you know, Harry Kane, he was just fits and starts coming at different points. You know, tried to help the team out, holding the ball up and stuff like that. I still don't think he's right. He looks a little bit, I don't know why he looks a little bit unfit. Doesn't look with it. So he sort of drifts in and out of games. Regualr was exactly the same, had, you know, good periods and had some dire, shocking, you know, passes.
Yeah.
So they seemed to, the second half, they really seemed to come out completely different, and they were just playing themselves into trouble. They made it so easy for the other team. So I think it was a good game for Conte to see, right, okay, yeah, he's trouble. I need to move him on. He's not going to improve. So I quite liked it that way.
Okay, great. Steve, welcome to the stream, mate. Good to
Hello,
have you.
everybody.
Hi, Steve. Yeah, just a quick question.
Glad we can see your head, Steve.
Yeah, just a quick question, Steve. Which players do you think didn't do themselves any favours yesterday, and which one do you think sort of put sort of a good?
I don't think any of them covered themselves with glory yesterday. You know, it was a bit of a false dawn, isn't the right word. I'm still feeling quite pessimistic, I'm afraid. I know everyone's buzzing, but you know, I feel like I've been there. I've been there before. You know, we thought we've got the next best thing. So I'm being very cautious and probably a little bit pessimistic, but I'm still of a view that, you know, a handful of players, you know, are deservedly staying there, I would say. I saw stuff about Moura being shipped out, and I thought that was completely wrong. Maybe I'm just seeing, you know, going to the wrong websites, but I think that would be, you know, he almost embodies the spirit I'd like to see in Spurs. But I reckon sort of of the 11 that started, eight have got to go, really, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I mean, which ones do you have got to go, Steve?
Who's going?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think back. I mean, right. Let's start with Lloris. You know, I think he's, having said that, he probably had his best game he's had all season. Probably for a year, he had his best game. But bear in mind, we were up against the team who are fifth in the Dutch first division. They're not, you know, that division isn't the best in the world. Mm-hmm. And at times we looked like we were going to lose that, particularly in the second half. Mm-hmm. You know, I thought Dyer was ponderous. I mean, Romero gets sent off, doesn't he? But we know that he's going to get booked every other game. That's his statistic. There's people don't play with their heads, do they? They're young men. Young men don't play with their heads.
That's agreed. Yeah,
and it's how you manage it. So, yeah, I mean, without going through the whole team, I feel still quite pessimistic about it.
Yep. Cam?
Well,
Thanks, Steve.
I mean,
who do you
I
think
hear what Steve says. I hear what Steve says, but I mean, you know, is your only Spurs fan on this planet right now who's not smiling that Conte's joined the club? At least give us that, Steve. At least give us that. But love the pessimism. Fantastic. But you're smiling now. I mean, I think the thing that what I say is we all know that there's some players that are dead wood. The thing that Conte will bring to this team, Steve, and you know as well as I do, is how he can take mediocre players and make them good. Spurs have had the talent of taking great players and making them bad. That's what we've been good at. That's what our speciality is.
Okay, come on, tell me, who has he got hold of who has been mediocre and he's made good?
Who?
Well, firstly,
Conte, yeah.
Victor Moses.
Victor Moses is one in Chelsea.
Yeah,
he did that too.
Marcus Alonso.
Alonso, plus also look at
Lukaku.
Lukaku
they were bad players to start.
Marcus Alonso wasn't the top scoring left wing back in the league before Conte joined that team.
There's been a lot of players that he has improved, and he has
they're slotting into teams with good players, you know.
Yes,
I'm not sure about that.
All right. Let's work our way through it because you're being really pessimistic here, Steve. Right? I don't need it. 2 days.
Steve is a half glass full empty type of guy, isn't he?
You know, how many beers have you had? First question. Second
no, I haven't had any yet.
Oh, that's the problem.
Cam, answer the questions of the team now. Marlene says,
right.
Do you think Kane will play for the new coach?
Well, yes, I think it's a very important question because something Adam said earlier about the way that Kane played, stuff that Steve said, I don't agree. I thought Kane, He may not have his scoring touch back, but I think his hold-up play in the middle there, and the way that he was holding that ball and playing it, all right, it was a mediocre team, was pretty good. He got a player sent off. He got a lot of fouls. When we were under pressure, when we were with 10 players, I thought that he was he did pretty well for the team. I think that you got to give it time. You got to let them, Conte. How much can he do into 48 hours for a start? Let's be very clear about this. With the work permit, it's probably about 2 hours. And I think that this weekend will really be more telling. You've got Everton coming up, but as someone else said, wait until January. Ship out some of the dead wood. There's no doubt about it that the dead wood is there in the centre of the park, which we're full of very dead people. Sorry, did you be upset, Steve?
You're upset, Steve. No, it's gone. But Cam, I want to get Adam in before you start. I want Adam to say.
I want to just say about this.
No. Hold on a second, Adam.
Let me answer this. Could Kane play for the new coach? I think the answer's got to be an affirmative yes.
Okay, I want to ask Adam the same question. Will Kane play for the new coach? And is he happy to stay, or does he still want to go to Man City?
I think he's still checked out.
Yeah.
I think he will play for the coach, but I think Conte doesn't take any fools. So if he knows that Kane isn't putting in the performances, then he'll happily drop him, send him a message that you need to work harder, or he'll ship him out. He did hold up the play a lot, bring players into play. I just think he looks laggy. He just doesn't look all there. He still looks a bit dazed, bit checked out. Yeah. But it's early days yet. So, but I do think he will come on board eventually.
I mean, all the press reports say he's excited by it, doesn't want to leave Tottenham now. But let's answer this question from silence. Steve, do you reckon Conte will make Ndombele a better player?
Oh, blimey, that's a tough call, isn't it? I'm not sure Harry Potter could make him into a better player.
Steve is always like this, by the way, Adam.
No, I think actually, you see, because I quite like him. Strangely enough, I do like him, but I only like him in the attacking third of the field. I don't want him outside our penalty area, giving the ball away or tripping somebody up or trying a trick that doesn't work. I want him on the edge of their box, doing a little trick, causing a bit of trouble, making them step back, running into that area, maybe getting a penalty. That's what I want.
Happy.
But that's still not the player we want. We want a midfield maestro playmaker who can spray the ball around, who can see passes other players can't see. And Ndombele isn't that player. We need somebody like that. And of course, they're very expensive and they're very rare. So I'm not sure where we're going to get him from. But I don't think we're going to turn Ndombele into that.
I want Steve to answer this question. Can I just answer it for him firstly and say that Steve, nobody would make Steve happy because he likes being miserable.
Oh God! No,
but Humbug was based on Steve.
I had trouble managing under sevens. It was just murder.
Steve, you're not happy with Conte? Okay. Let's
answer the question, Steve.
Steve won't answer any questions.
Go on.
Who would have been my ideal manager? There isn't anyone. I'm sorry. There isn't anyone. You know, my ideal manager was Brian Clough, and he's dead. So there's nothing we can do about that.
Adam, we've had rumours that Conte wants to get rid of 4 players: Bergwijn, Lo Celso, Ali, and Lucas Moura. What's your thoughts on that?
All of them apart from Lucas Moura.
The
rest didn't play. I keep Lucas Moura. I think he's the only guy who really puts in a shift. He looked pissed when he come off. I think he's the one that really has got a lot of passion for Spurs.
Let me ask you a question. If Conte says no, I don't like Lucas Moura, I want to get rid of him. Do you trust in Conte, or are you starting to question Conte's judgment now?
No, trust in the coach. Conte's a winner.
Yeah.
Lucas Moura has been there for a good few years and he's done well. But trust Conte. I hope that doesn't happen. Every manager makes their mistake, but I don't think he will do that to Moura. Lo Celso will definitely be gone. Be gone without a doubt.
Cam, what do you think about those 4 players? Do you agree with Adam?
I think the reason why Moura's name is on there because Moura's probably the only one that will get us some money. Right now. And everyone says get rid of the dead wood, but like we've been saying all along, you have to have some fool to take them. And if we don't have anyone to take them, then you're not going to get anything from them. What did we get for Sissoko? 2 million. What did we get for Aurier? We got absolutely nothing. We
had to give him away. Yeah.
To tear his contract up. So there, if you're a coach of some, I don't know, a club somewhere with a bit of money or whatever, and there's 4 Tottenham players coming up for sale: Bergwijn, Dele Alli, Lo Celso, or Mora. Who would you sign? Who would you actually put money in? So if Conte's serious about redoing the squad, he's got to sell some players that will actually bring in some income. And I think the only reason why Mora's going to be in there is because of that. I mean, and it goes back to the Ndombele thing. We can talk about Ndombele and where he should play and what he should do, but for £60 million that you paid for him, who the hell is going to pay him the money? So, of course, he's going to try and get the best out of him. That was asked a question earlier, will you get the best out of this guy? They've been told, listen, we paid £60 million for him, and his current form is worth $5 million. If you can get him up to about $40 million, that will be something. So let's give it a go. So I think there is a bit of realism here about what you can get for people. And if you're serious about remodeling the squad, that's why everyone said sell Harry Kane. Not because they all hated Harry Kane. They said him because the only one who's going to bring in some money that will be able to remodel the squad.
Yeah, he's halved his value in the last 10 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Steve, what about the question from Marlene, Steve? Do you, with your new coach, are you still just playing
defensive? That's a very good question, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. What do you think?
Well, that is my big worry, that we don't play more attacking, expansive football. The first half against Vitesse Arnhem, I thought we did press from the off, which I thought, great, this is going to be really good. But we didn't keep that up. I desperately hope we don't go back to that sort of Mogadon football. I really do, because I think the fans will hate it. They'll get.
But Steve, Conte's never played that kind of football.
He's
never ever played that kind of football. I mean, I know you're saying this.
They were top scorers in the league with Chelsea.
At what team did Conte play non-expansive, non-attacking football with 3 at the back?
I was asking the question. I was trying to answer the question which was posed. And my worry as well is that wherever Conte's gone before, he's got players who can play like that. I feel that our players have been so straitjacketed for so long, so sort of into some sort of system ever since Mourinho got there.
Yeah.
That they're not up for it anymore. They can't do it. They've been coached to death. We want to have a bit of freedom.
I'm not sure.
Okay. We'll come back to that. I want to answer the questions from the people watching, because this is an interactive session. I want to give this one to Adam. Sahel, welcome, Sahel.
Spot on there, isn't he?
I think you're putting too much on Conte. He's not a miracle worker. What do you think, Aaron? Are we putting too much on this guy? And what do you think?
I think if Conte can't fix this, no one can fix Tottenham.
Yeah.
It's done until
is this the last throw of the dice for Daniel Levy?
New owners come in and they just absolutely clean slate, get rid of everyone, start again.
Is this the last throw of the dice for Daniel Levy?
I would like so.
It's a big role.
I would like so. I don't see it.
Okay.
I think he'll always wiggle his way out because he's a little bit of a worm, and always finds a little a loophole to try and appease the fans somehow. So I think that's what he's done this time. I hope it works. I hope it works.
Yeah,
I don't want to see us go backwards again, like we have been.
I'll take it another way. I'll take that question back, because I will say he is a miracle worker. I'll say that he can produce miracles here. I think that what's been happening. I mean, Steve said it in a very negative way, like he likes to, but he did say it, that Mourinho and Nuno and the systems that they played. Like I've said this before, Mourinho was an iPad manager. It's all about tactics. It's all about boards. It's all about whatever you do. You must move here. You must do this. You must do that. Fit into a system. It probably worked in the early 2000s. It don't work anymore now that we're at high press and people just come at you like crazy. You can't legislate for that in a classroom. And that's Mourinho. And if you watch the show on the Amazon show, it was all about classrooms. Most of his training was in bloody classrooms. But Conte is not only just a manager who's won everything, he's a player that's won everything. He's won the Champions League. He's won all the stuff like that. He's played at the highest level that Mourinho, or even to be fair to Nuno, okay, he was a goalkeeper, probably didn't. And I think if this guy can't do it, because a lot of these players aren't bad. a lot of these players are not the worst players that we've seen. You know, a lot of these players did get us constantly top four, and it was the system that was brought in, and probably the burnout from Pochettino that has let them down. I don't disagree that some of the signings, specifically Mourinho signings, whether it's Bergwijn and maybe at the end of Pochettino's era, like Ndombele's, have not been good. But one of the things that actually Nuno will leave us with is actually this year, the 3 players that he brought in, I mean 4 players if we had Skip, but the 4 players that he brought in are pretty have got potential. I mean, Emerson, I didn't think had his best game, but his potential and his ability to run down that side is very good. Romero, I don't think anyone's going to doubt is going to be a top-notch centre-half. And when we get Brian Gill running in that formation on a wing, because what Conte likes is 2 wingers going. I mean, one of the reason why he played Davis is because he likes his 2 centre-backs on the right and the left to be able to become wingers as well when needed. And you probably saw on the 3rd goal, had only been there 2 days, and we had Davis almost had a chance to score. We'd got a goal from it from his fluffed shot. But what the hell was Davis doing there? I mean, you know, so to say that we're going to be defensive or we're going to be playing like that, I didn't see that yesterday. I didn't see that at all. Miracle worker, most definitely, because it will take a miracle to turn this team around. And so we've got ourselves a miracle worker.
But all I would say was Chelsea were 10th and he took them to league champions winners. So, I mean, that is a miracle, isn't it?
Let's win the league.
Let me jump in on that one.
Yeah,
so the difference from the Mourinho days, the Poch days, is that Paratici is going to be working with Conte. So under Mourinho, he literally gave a little spec and Steve Hitchen would go out and try and find who they could get bargain basement-wise. This time round, it's like Pochettino, Mark 1 and Paul Mitchell. They both know the players they want. They both know the players that work the system. And that's what's going to be the difference, I think, with Conte and Paratici. Instead of Levy saying, we've got this player available, you know, here's a few YouTube clips, amazing step overs, that's sign him. It's going to be completely different this time round. So, yeah, I think it will work.
Good, very good. Lucas Moura would attract the most money. I think we agree with that because after Harry Kane, does everybody think he's our biggest? I mean, Ndombele is not worth anything now in form he's shown, but Lucas Moura showed good form. So I think Lucas Moura. I think Cam could have a point, you know, because this could be if he's been told you've got to sell before you can buy. If Kane is staying, you know, where do we sell? Moura is going to attract some money anyway. He's been showing.
I think Lascelles.
Where do you get someone of his similar abilities in that position? Someone he can jump higher than any person for his height in the league, can't he? And he's got a pace that terrifies people really in running at you. I know his first touch is a bit dodgy, and he does sort of sometimes go a bit headless chicken. But you know, look at the hat trick against Ajax.
We've got Josimar on the line. Josimar, can you hear us? Excellent, that's great. Yeah, doing very well, Josimar. Do you want to put a question to the panel?
We can't hear him.
Can you not hear him?
No.
Have you got the fader up?
No, everything's full. Can you hear him, guys? Can anybody hear him?
No.
I can hear him. Okay. For some reason, it's not working. But
thanks for trying.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. Thanks.
Yeah. So I want to just come back to what Steve said because I think it's an important point that he made. I think the thing that we've got to see is the thing that impressed me yesterday about Conte, but that's just very, very early days yet. Come on, let's face it. I mean, it's very, very early days yet. But
absolutely,
you know, when we were 10 people, 10 on the pitch because Romero got himself sent off ridiculously. I mean, you know, bit of stroke of luck because they were even more stupid and got 2 players sent off. But
their goalkeeper shouldn't have been sent off, though, should it?
That was a handball outside.
That was a handball, though, wasn't it? Okay, off handball.
He hit his arm there. Anyway, whatever. But the point is what I'm trying to make is he had the balls to make a very tight decision. He took off Son, and everyone was shocked. He took off Skip, who was playing pretty well, and everyone was shocked. And he took off. Who else did he take off? Is it Moray? But he brought on 3 players that we would have thought if Nuno had brought them on, you would have been screaming at the top of your lungs with Winks and who else did he bring on at the back? He brought on Sanchez, and I thought that they played brilliantly. I thought that it was a tactical move that really worked. That in a short space of time, he managed to, because up until then we were being totally overrun. When those two came on, the game completely changed. And anybody else had done that move. Firstly, they would never have done it because Nuno would have just been rabbits in headlights, frozen, not know what to do. Mourinho would have been going back to his iPad. But the guy changed in that game very quickly with old players that none of us would have trusted. And I think that was quite. I don't know what the panel's view is on that, but I was quite impressed with that. Because normally we would have all sighed in horror if we thought Sanchez and Winks are coming on to save our bacon. Right. Steve?
I mean, the fact is, he was brave enough, inverted commas, to do that. And
sorry, guys, some wait a second.
Yeah, Steve, take over. Go on.
Yeah, are we still running? Are we? Crikey.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Some mistake of mine. My apologies, guys. Carry on.
Yeah, he was brave enough to do that and bring on 3 substitutes at one hit, which is what we want to see. That, don't we? We can see something. Yeah. We can see the water flooding through. Let's plug it. Let's get somebody in there that's going to stop it. Yes. I think either they'd run out of puff or they were panicking. Something was going wrong, so he changed the spine of the team. That's what he did.
Yeah, but it worked. But most of the other last managers we've had wouldn't have been able to do that. I mean, what do you think, Adam?
No, they wouldn't have done that. That was too big a move. It was too big a play.
Yeah, it was a big play.
And he doesn't care about that. And he doesn't care about it because
isn't that what we want?
He's a reactive manager.
He's only been here 2 hours, so he can do? He's not going to get blamed for anything after 2 hours, is he?
I just think, yeah. What did you think, Adam?
Yeah, he's a reactive manager. Fair play to him. He's not like the previous, wait 70 minutes, 80 minutes, and then go, right, I think I better make a change here. Or like Nuno did a couple of weeks ago, and he made 2 changes at 86th minute. And hope that they would make the difference. So, which is crazy. Yeah. So fair play to him, And the thing is, he's thick-skinned. He will make decisions where other people will think, okay. But that's his style. He doesn't mind upsetting people. I mean, we saw from minute 1, he was shouting and laying into people, and I was absolutely loving that. Such a difference from Nuno's just standing there gazing into the spotlights.
Stroking his beard. But what about this silence? He's saying, I don't know why, but I've got a gut feeling that Conte won't do well at Spurs. Now, is this because of the Spurs curse silence? Why do you think he's not going to do well?
Because
he's done well everywhere else. But then again, if there is a club where he's going to fail, it's got to be Tottenham, isn't it? I mean, everybody else has failed it.
Yeah.
Silence is a person after my own heart.
Silence is you as well. He's your alter ego, I think.
So, Steve, can we place a bet? If by the time we get to Christmas and stuff, can I pick the restaurant where you'll take me for dinner?
Absolutely.
Once Conte wins most of his games.
Yeah,
and Amanda,
Amanda saying, what's the mood like to be?
You heard that? I'm picking the restaurant, Steve.
Oh,
can you stick? Can you guys
know.
stick to the chat, or we're going to have a private conversation somewhere else? But
no, I'm putting a bet with
what will be the mood like in the players' locker room? Steve, what's the
tuning in for this stuff?
Steve, what's the mood going to be like amongst the players with Conte there working them off their backsides?
I think he's gone, mate. I think he's dropped
Steve's
out.
gone. Let's drop him out.
Ask Adam.
Adam, what do you think it's going to be like for the players?
Yeah, I think they'll still be on tender hooks. They'll be wanting to know how much they can push the boundaries, what's going to be expected of them. I think they're still going to be buzzing that they've got Conte. Conte's going to be loving it because he's got, some easy games coming up. So he's going to hopefully experiment and chop and change the team. Different combinations with players, and maybe give some of the fringe players a go and say, right, okay, show me what you're made, or show me why you deserve to be in the first team. And I think those 5-6 games are going to shape his opinion on who he thinks, right, okay, yeah, they're cut for January, because they're easy games, so they should be really pushing forward, highlighting what they can do. Dele Alli should be, lifting up trees to show that he should be in this team, especially under Conte.
Yeah. Cam, how long does it take for an elite manager like Conte to make a judgment on a player to say whether this guy is going to fit in my system and is going to... How long do you think it's going to take him?
I think
That's a good
that the
question.
manager's a very good question is that, but I think the manager's already made up his mind. Look, if I'm coming into a job, I know it's not very long or whatever, I'll probably, and we all sitting around here have probably a view on a lot of players in the world football, let alone the players that just play for Tottenham. We know more or less who they are. You know who your opposition is. I'm sure Conte had already formed a view on a lot of our players, which ones have hit his radar and which ones have fallen off his radar. He would have done his homework on the Opta stats and all the other stats that are out there about how fast they run and what they do and their movement and everything else. I mean, I look at a lot of those formulas and I personally can't understand it all. So I think a lot of his ideas would already have been formed. Can those players change his mind? Yeah, through training. I mean, you know that he brought in 3 fitness coaches. I think it's the first time he's got 3 fitness coaches there that are running them ragged. And if they think that Conte screams on the sidelines, you should hear his fitness coaches. Apparently, they were screaming so loud at the subs after the game that they've never ever known what they put in Delhi and all these subs and Lo Celso through the paces after the game on the field. That's why Conte came late to his press conference, because he had them all back out there running around like lunatics. And I think within a couple of weeks, some players may change his mind, but I think somebody like him is very clear what they want to do. I mean, it's interesting. Spurs have no Italian players in their team. Italy are the team that's just won the Euros, beat Tottenham. You've got a lot of those young players coming out in Italy looking pretty damn shit hot, pretty good. I bet you Conte and Paratici are already making some calls in that direction. Portugal. I mean, Wolves became Portugal B team, didn't it, under Nuno? So I wouldn't mind becoming Italy B team too.
Well, Lo Celso's got an Italian name anyway, so maybe that's half it. Evening, Terry. Thanks for joining the stream again, buddy.
Hi.
Really appreciate that. Steve, have you got some positive words? Before you leave, I want you to say something positive about what's happening.
Well, I mean, I know we faded out a bit there periodically, but I suspect Conte, when he thought he was coming in the summer, did quite a bit of research on players as well. So he won't have walked into this just having a couple of weeks to assess players. Yeah. I think it would be really good if we could get journeyman Italian players from Serie A into this Spurs team, because they would shine. They would look like absolute diamonds.
What about Chiellini or Bonucci, one of those guys, and then they'd be amazing, wouldn't they?
I want us to play. If we could play like the Italian team played, I would be more than happy. From the first game in the Euros, you could tell Italy were going to win that tournament because of the way they played, the way they pressed. If we could in any way replicate that, that would be great.
Yeah.
Whether that's going to be the case or not, the jury's out. We've only had one game. Let's see how it goes. Let's have this discussion in 3 months' time.
No, but then our job is to talk and get them. So, Adam, Silence is coming up with some really good questions. Silence, you're on form today, buddy. No Spurs player sent a goodbye message to Nuno. Wonder why? You think because they're glad to see the back of that bugger?
You just can't print it.
Or maybe he hasn't left.
Or even the goodbye note from the Spurs official was like 3 or 4 lines.
I think the team probably waved him out the car park when he left.
Someone did tell me that the Spurs Twitter.
Keep going, man.
Suspense.
Yeah.
Suspense.
He's not coming back now. I've had enough of that. So,
let him back. Can't do
I'm not letting him back. If you can't find a Wi-Fi signal that works,
let him back.
No, I'm not letting him back. But go on. Why is Nuno must have been the worst appointment for a long time, since probably Christian Gross or Jack Santini. Is he the worst appointment, Ken?
I mean, it's the wrong appointment for the wrong team. I mean, it was interesting to see Mourinho's bitterness. He said that Nuno's a better coach than Conte. I don't know if anyone.
That's ridiculous. I mean, that's crazy. That's a stupid thing to say.
Why would Tottenham do that? I mean, he was the wrong coach for the wrong team. I mean, that's what it can say. Nuno, I'm sure if Nuno went somewhere else and did really well, I mean, I'm sure he will. But this is not the time for him to come in with this team. It wasn't his team. And he took us from being a pretty poor team into an extremely poor team. And
there's progress, but in the wrong direction.
Wrong direction. Because what he did against Man United, I mean, there was like 12 targets standing there. This was a team that just did not want to. One of them wanted to play for each other. Nobody did. I mean, there was nothing else he could do but fire. I mean, he knew it himself, I think.
Yeah. Adam, Does it show a bit of lack of class from Tottenham? You know, that we should still be professional, give him a proper send off. You know, say goodbye properly, praise him, or do we just?
Well, 14 million is a proper
Did
send
we
off.
do that for Danny Rose?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. We didn't do it for Danny Rose, probably one of our best left backs in a long time. We didn't do that, did we?
Well, I mean, you talk about us being professional. I don't know how true this is. I heard that the Spurs communications team on Twitter put out a welcome for Conte in Spanish before having to change it to Italian. Now, I mean, that's
even though he speaks
not
Italian.
exactly professional, is it? I don't know how true that is. I almost want it to be true, but it's good if it is.
No other club. No other.
I mean,
club
look, we could feel. I mean, I have no hard feeling against Nuno at all. As I said, he's the wrong place for the wrong team. Heard Conte told Winks he's going to turn him into Iniesta or Per. I said that, Most Blunted. You know that I said that.
Most Blunted's comment, not yours. But anyway, I don't think that's.
I made that comment earlier.
Actually,
Winks was the new
Winks
Pirlo.
didn't play too badly when he came on. I thought he was all right when he came on.
He's the new Pirlo, Steve.
But great if he is.
I mean, I'd have Pirlo as he is now in the Spurs team, to be honest.
Yeah.
Adam, what did you think of Winks when he came on? Did he impress you? I mean, he wasn't on for long.
He had a couple of surging runs into the danger area, going to the edge of the penalty area, and I thought, blimey, he hasn't done that for about 3 years.
He just hasn't been coached properly. He's one of our own, Steve.
He is.
It's early days. I don't think Winks has got it in him. I don't think he's at the level that you know.
But if Conte can coach him and get him up to that level, anybody that can make Victor Moses a decent player and a Premier League winner has got something in him. I'm telling you.
Well, that's true, but he's got his work cut out at Spurs. So, but no, I don't see Winks turning it around.
Okay.
I think he should go to the Championship. Or
let's talk about some of the players.
He's a West Brom player, really.
Yeah, he's a West Brom, or he's a Newcastle player. But let's talk about some of the players and ask the other guys. Some of the players we're reportedly interested in: Dusan Vlahovic, Frank Kessie, Marco Brozovic, Nicola Barella. Are these the type of players that are going to take us to the next level, Cam?
Definitely, these are the type of players that have won a lot of stuff already. I mean, you know, they're at the top. They're all playing the Italy league. They all are very well known by Conte. And I mean, there must be some logic with Paratici and Conte coming in. I mean, we know that Paratici wanted Conte in the first place. It didn't really work out. God knows how we ended up with Nuno. But he's got his man now, and there must be part of the deal. I mean, look, it's with anything, right? When you take any job, you talk about the benefits package, don't you? And in this case, I mean, it's not about money. The benefits package here is which players you going to allow me to sign, and what's my budget? What can I do? So he's got to have come in, understanding what he wants. I mean, the fact is that I think Adam nailed it when he said, "This is it now." I mean, you know, either we're top four and we are going to push on to where we need to be, or it's all over, because the more we drop back as a team, the more other teams get better. So all of these Vlahovic's and Brozovic's and Barellas and everybody else, they don't come to us. They're going somewhere else, probably to Newcastle or something else. So this is our chance to get in there right now and make this happen. I mean, I think this year it's very open. Liverpool and Chelsea are right up there. Liverpool drew. City drew. City are losing games well and truly. We have 6 games this year. None of them are hard games. I mean, Conte's in at the time. If we had Nuno here, these next 6 games would have looked like every single one would have been a relegation fight. Everton are in a bad state. We could win these 6 games and really be pushing on to then bring in players and move forward this year. I really am quite optimistic, simply because the next 6 games are all winnable.
Okay. Steve, what do you think of those players that have been mentioned? I mean, previously, I'm assuming that if Conte wasn't here, they're not going to come for Nuno. So Conte's a big draw, which is not the benefit.
I don't know enough about them, to be honest.
Okay. Adam, what do you think about those players?
I'll trust Kamal's judgment. If he thinks that's going to take us to the next level, then we'll blame Kamal if it fails.
Thank you.
We call him Cam in here, by the way. Nobody knows his name.
Oh, sorry.
Adam, what do you think of those players? Kessie, Brozovic, Barella. Do you think firstly, they're not going to come if it's Nuno, so they're going to come because it's Conte, and they know he wins things. And they're going to take us to the new level.
They are, yeah. They're quality players, and they will take us to the new level. So, and you know, that's that's what Conte sort of brings, is that level of, with his reputation, that he attracts players. Mourinho used to be like that, and then everyone worked out what Mourinho was like, and then realised that if I have 2 bad games, he's going to throw me under a bus and pretty much destroy my my career. So I think, yeah, that's what Conte attracts. He attracts world-class players. So whether Levy will dip his hand in.
Well, apparently he's got a gentleman's agreement that he's going to spend 150 million pounds for him in January. What do you think, Adam? Is he going to have that gentleman's agreement?
Yeah, I bet he whispered as well when he said that depends on sales of Dele Alli and Lo Celso and what funds we can raise for him. I hope so. I hope that's genuine. So, yeah.
So, if we can attract these players and Conte can get this team right, we could be going places. But realistically, Steve, I know, just suspend disbelief for a moment and assume that Conte is going to be successful. What do you think realistically we can achieve from this point now for this season?
Well, we're starting from a disadvantage, aren't we? We've already lost 5 games. I think the best we're going to hope for is top 6, which I wouldn't have said that a week ago. I think there we were mid-table, if not floating above the relegation. So that for me is blindingly positive, really. I think we can still make top 6.
Cam?
I think we'll all be happy with top 6 and a cup.
Yes,
and a cup. Oh, you're pushing it now.
I think that the Conference League, Europa Conference League, is something that we could potentially win. I think that Conte won the FA Cup. I think a cup run is possible. It all depends. The FA Cup doesn't really kick off till January. It's a chance to bring in new players. He'll have had time to bed things in. If we were already in the second round of the FA Cup, you might think, well, it's going to be a bit dodgy. We're already in the quarterfinals of the Carabao. So I do think there's possibilities there. I also think that top 4 is wide open, not because of Tottenham, but top 4 is wide open, period, because you've got West Ham coming up there. You've got City sort of flip-flopping. You've got Manchester United flip-flopping. And you've got Leicester, who are definitely not on the boil. And Arsenal are coming up too. And that is an opportunity for us. Top 4 is definitely an opportunity, because I would have said a month ago that top 4 was all sewn up. Because, the way that United were playing, they've completely gone off the boil. The way that City were playing, you got Liverpool and Chelsea are definitely going to be up there, already sewn up. Forget about it. But I think in the last few games, it's just blown wide open. So why not? Why not top 4?
Steve?
Well, I hope that Cam's right. I think you have outlined the fact that there appears to be a lack of consistency for the teams who you'd expect to be challenging for the top 4. Liverpool drawing with Brighton, West Ham coming up. I'd probably prefer to play Man City now than Brighton. But maybe you've convinced me a bit, Cam. There's a chance there.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's agree on who we think he's going to ship out in January then, guys. Come on, I want some names about who's got to go in January. Cam?
Well, I think Dele Alli is going to go. I think that the fact that he didn't even get a chance to come on the field when he was made 4 changes, and he put Lo Celso ahead of him, and he put Winks ahead of him, says a lot. I think Lo Celso, everyone knows he's going to go. Whether Dyer is going to go or not, although we really want him to go, I'm not so sure. I think those 2 are definitely, and I think it will be a toss-up between Ndombele and Mora, to be honest with you. But he's going to have to clear out. The only way that Spurs is going to function effectively is by clearing out that midfield junk. There are those 6 players across the field there, and until you start making some room, some space, are you going to fit anybody in? So that's going to be number 1. So pick any of those 6. Pick 5 of those 6, and they're gone. And
Dyer was at fault for their first goal, wasn't he? Adam?
Yeah. Dyer, both takers going to take it.
Yeah.
He was, wasn't he, Adam?
He was. He was. Yeah.
And Conte's not going to miss that. He's going to notice these things, isn't he?
He is. And, Cam said a couple of weeks ago he thought that Dyer was the most improved player, which I kind of agreed. But Dyer's just one heart attack away from a mistake. And it's usually not his fault. It's usually the ball will ricochet off his elbow, his foot, his ear, anything, and it will just go in. And I feel sorry for him because you can tell that he's passionate about Spurs. And, we've seen it in the documentary that he lays into people in the dressing room and gets his point across, and he's passionate. But I think it's his time to go.
I think I'm pretty sure he's got some dirt on Levy or something, because he seems to survive. He survived all the managers. He keeps surviving.
Photographs, I understand.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Grandpa Stevens, good evening to you, sir. Thank you very much again for joining. We really appreciate that. This season, no. This season is a write-off for me, but I'm just happy to have a sense of direction again from the club. Yeah, agree, mate. Nuno's football was soul-destroying. Honestly, lost interest in life. I don't, Grandpa, we're always there if you need to chat with anybody. We're suffering Spurs fans like you, mate. So thanks for that. And good evening to Paul Brown. Paul, welcome back, buddy. Thanks for joining the stream. Give us your thoughts on Nuno. Who do you think should be sold? Who do you think we should get in? We want to hear what you guys have to say. But Everton now on the weekend. Going to be a tricky game, isn't it, Adam?
It'll be a tough one because Everton have struggled. The expectancy under Benitez that he's going to come in and, wave his magic wand and get them firing. They've been inconsistent and they have struggled the last couple of weeks. So they'll be hoping on a bounce to take us on. I think they were all praying that Nuno was still there, and it was a given that it would be a win to them. So, I think it'll be a tough one, but I think, that will be a real good test for Conte. And he'll look at that and he'll study that and he'll work out who are going to be the workhorses for the team and who he wants to put in. Out of those 5 or 6 games, I think that will be the toughest one that's going to showcase how far his implements have been. And that's where I think...
Steve, do you think Oliver Skipp's got a place in this team, the new Conte team? Do you think Skipp's going to survive?
I think that there is a lot of potential there. I felt the last couple of games he's gone off the boil a little bit. I can almost feel his nervousness when he's playing. And I think there's a world of difference between being a very, very dominant in a Norwich team that's getting promoted and being in a Spurs team under pressure. Having said that, I think in the probably first 8 games of the season where he was playing, he was probably our best player. So I would think Conte will persist with him. I think he still brings a degree of energy. He's very good at intercepting, nicking the ball away. That little fighter in midfield that you need, and he's got a pass on him as well. I'd like to see him periodically being a little bit more adventurous, as long as he's covered, and get some shots away. We don't have enough shots from midfield players. We just rely on Son and Cam. Really.
Cam, do you think Skip is? I mean, Skip. There's rumours of Højbjerg. He wants to get rid of Højbjerg as well. I mean, Skip and Højbjerg, are they Conte type players or not? Tell our viewers.
I think. Look, let's look at it this way. I mean, when Højbjerg came in, he came in as a defensive midfielder, going to stand behind the front four, mop everything up and move the play and move us into the transitional stage to move forward, right? Højbjerg took us from his point of view. He came in and he had 4 people behind him who were very poor defenders. He found himself, especially towards the back end of last season and Mourinho's team, when he was having to defend and do every single thing on his own. And the guy burnt out so fast because they were hopeless. He had no cover from behind and no cover in front. And how much can one player do? Since Skip has come in, under this new system of 3 at the back and the wingers, it's going to free them up more. And I believe that Højbjerg going forward, some of his forward passing in the last few games has been very good. I think he can be that player that we need him to be, where he can mop stuff up at the back, plus also move the play forward, which he seems to have been getting better at. And he might be your next Pirlo. And I would like to see him improve in his shots and the way that he works. I think, is there going to be, with this system, enough room for Skip and Højbjerg both in the same team at the same time, game in, game out? Probably not. But that ain't going to be a bad thing because, if one gets injured, the other one can cover. It's very important that we have that. our biggest issue with Conte is going to be who's he going to pick at the back. Which three players would you trust him as a set? You got Romero in the middle.
That's a given, I think. That's a given.
That's a given.
Yeah.
Who would you have on either side? There is where I think our problem is. And I don't think anyone, apart from Conte so far, is convinced that Davies is the man on the left. I am convinced that Sanchez is definitely after Romero, our best centre back right now. This season, he's proved that.
Really?
I'm not convinced of that.
Bobspur. Welcome, Bobspur. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining the stream. It's been a long time. Let's see what Bobspur's saying. Conte has enough clout to be back fully by not only the board, but fans too. He's a winner, and if it feels that certain players don't fit his team, you need to trust him. Big up. Yeah, totally agree, Bobspur. 100% right, mate.
Totally
He's
agree.
been there, he's done it, he's written the book, he's worn the t-shirt. You know, we've got to trust him. Levy and Paratici have got to trust him. And if he says he's not good enough, he's not good enough. Adam, who do you think is going to be the back three that he's going to go with?
I think Cam's right. You know, there's risks on both sides. I think the next few games will definitely shape it. I think Romero is definitely, you know, he's unpickable at the moment.
Undroppable, you mean? Don't you? Unpickable.
Yeah, sorry, undroppable. Yeah. I don't know, because you've still got Doherty to come in. You know, he was on the bench. I expected him to maybe make a little appearance, you know, just a cameo for a couple of minutes. Whether he can get the best out of him, I don't know. I personally think he's a goner in January. So it's who do you trust? I'm quite impressed with Tanganga. You know, when Mourinho brought him in, because he literally had no one else to brought in, I thought he'd done really well. And you know, I thought he was solid and strong against Palace. He lost his head, got sent off, but I quite like him. So I'd like to see him be given, you know, a bit more of a chance. It's a tough one. I can't say who it's going to be.
Yeah,
it's just so open.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's difficult. Steve, what about Grandpa Stevens? It makes a world of difference. It simply allows people to leave, frees up wages, and allows people to sign worst-class players. What do you think, Steve? Yeah, if we just sell a few players, even if we don't get much money, it frees up wages and it frees up spaces to sign world-class players.
It does. It depends how much. You'd probably do that with Ali, wouldn't you? Because you only paid $5 million for him. Whether you do that with Ndombele, I think he's going to persist with Ndombele because it's just too much money. You can't lose that amount of money. Yeah. You know, we're not going to sell him for $5 million, having bought him for 60, whatever it is.
Yeah. Cam, we haven't talked much about Hugo.
We haven't mentioned Rodon, have we?
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Steve. Yeah, talk about Rodon.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, we've actually got quite a few centre halves, haven't we? And if you throw Tanganga into the mix as well, we've probably got 5 or 6 players who can play in that position.
I don't think Rodon's going to be a Conte player. I don't think so.
I think he looks too lightweight to me.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll have to wait and see. I think Tanganga is a good player. I've always thought he was a centre half rather than a fullback. I'd seen him play at sort of youth and under 23, under 21 level where he really shone. Mind you, so did Skip. They both look world class in that setting. Obviously, it's different getting into the first team. And I know he got sent off against Palace, but you know, he was the only one fighting in that game. I mean, literally fighting, unfortunately, but he was the only one putting in a shift and really cared about it. I could forgive him a lot for that, even though he got sent off. In the same way, I can forgive Mora a lot because of his effort and shine. Those two players are the sort of beating heart. I know we talk about Harry Kane being one of our own and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, he's hardly been a beating heart. I think a lot.
But what happens? Okay, what happens, Cam, if he gets Vlahovic? Is he going to be playing with Kane, or you know, as a backup to Kane, or he's not going to come if he's going to be a backup, is he? So what's going to happen there?
There's two things here that are very important. He likes to play 2 strikers. He likes to play 2 at the front. I think that he would also like to play 2 wingers. So you know, he likes his wing back coming forward, but he also likes a winger in front of him, which is where Son and on that side regualr interchange. On the other side, you've got Moura and you've got Emerson. Now, who he brings in on that side, I don't know, but I definitely think there's room in that team in the Conte style of play for a striker. So I think where we're really struggling is who do we actually? I mean, Steve's right. We've got so many centre backs, but who are the key people? And I think my gut feeling says to me right now he's going to persist with Dyer simply because Dyer's played a lot this season and potentially. I mean, I really like the way. I mean, I was the first, always, every year in, year out. My first player out was always Sanchez, but this year it hasn't been the case. I think he has matured a bit. He's still only 24, and I think that he's the kind of player that he's fast, he's strong, and I think those are the kind of players that Conte likes to develop. So watch this space. You will see Sanchez definitely stay in the team. For me, it's going to really have to be. This dead wood in the center of the park, all these players that we've got there. We've got the Delis. We seem to have overloaded this team with a load of cheap players, right? Whether it's Lo Celso, Deli, I can't even name them all. We added to the mix. We put another one in with Brian Gill. It's not his fault, but then we've got who else have we got in that position? There's so many of them I can't even remember. And Dominic, Moura, and Bergwijn. Oh my God, my good old friend Stephen Bergwijn. Add all those in, 6 players for one position. None of them, apart from with great potential for Gill and maybe Moura, are world class at this stage. That is what you need to. But you need to shift those somewhat, at least 4 of those 6, to make room for a good, decent, world-class player in there. That's my view.
Adam, in terms of right back, we haven't spoken about the right back because how do you think Royal played yesterday, Adam? And secondly, do you think Matt Doherty deserves a chance because he's normally played in a back 5 as a marauding wing back? And do you think Conte is going to give him a chance?
I think he will. Because he'll want to assess him outside of training and see what he's like on the pitch and under his system. I don't think he's got a future. I can see like him being a Villa signing or a Newcastle signing, someone sort of lower. Royal, he's great going forwards. It's just coming back defensively. He's been caught out a couple of times. Where they've had to, come over to cover and then left a space where, strikers run in. That's caused us a couple of problems. But he's still settling into this league, and he's literally just been thrown in. So I think he's got potential. I think he's got a great cross on him as well. When he gets into that area and he puts the ball in, I think he's got a great cross. So I definitely think he's got a future at Spurs, and I definitely think he's first choice at the moment.
Could he play on the right side of the back 3, do you think, as a centre half?
Well, this is the thing. Conte, can coach players and improve players, and that will be one of the things he works on to see if he'll be able to take up that sort of role. And he'll know very quickly, very early on if he can. I think he will. I think he's quite versatile, so I think he will be able to.
Cam, if Conte could turn Ben Davies into a really good player as a left-sided centre back, will you take off your shirt? Or
No, you said you'd run around the stadium naked.
Steve said he'd do that, not me. I don't even have a ticket
to do that.
I can't even get in. I don't have a ticket. Steve, are you going to run around naked if Ben Davies plays really well, Steve?
I mean, no.
I do that every week anyway. Yeah.
I mean, I think.
Hold on, one at a time, sir. Go on, Steve.
Go on, then. No. Go on, Steve.
What are we talking about? Emerson,
are you going to run naked?
We're going to run naked around White Hart Lane.
Of course I will.
Ben Davies plays well.
Please don't
Absolutely.
do that.
I think my money's safe. Or my pride is safe. Yeah.
Good.
So what about let's talk. Hold on, guys. Let me just change the subject for a little while because I want to mould this one. Cam, what about Hugo Lloris? We had a great game yesterday, made some really good saves. But is he the future for Tottenham moving forward?
I think Lloris has been one of our best players this season. I know.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think that it's not just this game. I think he's kept. I mean, Silence made a comment earlier but Nuno won first 3 games. What went wrong? Well, let's analyze those games. We played 1 fantastic game against Manchester City, 2 very lucky games against Wolves and Watford, and probably the best player in those games was Hugo Lloris, because it wasn't the fact that we won them 1-0, wasn't the fact that we were a great team. It was sheer determination and luck and some good play by Lloris by keeping Watford and Wolves out, because they were inundating us. So let's get it in perspective. I think Lloris will stay. I think Lloris will probably sign a new contract, and I think even if we get a top-end goalkeeper, and I don't think that's Galini, a Donnarumma type, we would still want to keep Lloris there as a backup, because he has been a great servant, and he can still do it. I haven't got a problem with Lloris. I think that there is something there. I just want to add one thing which I think really important, Ray, in the panel, and that is that we can't judge or say anything about the game that happened yesterday for Conte. It hadn't been there a day, for Christ's sake, and it was a European team. It was a crazy game, whatever it is. His real debut comes in the Premier League where it really matters, and that is Saturday. This is where he's had 4-5 days to learn a bit more of the team, and really, this is the game that we all need to be looking forward to. I mean, we'd love to think that he's going to come in and wave a magic wand or whatever, but I think that we really will be looking as a debut for a manager will be Sunday against Everton, a struggling team with a lot of mediocre players and with a pretty decent manager who's got a very good record against Spurs. Benitez has got a very good record against us, so it'll be very interesting to see what happens.
What about this comment, Steve, that from Most Blunted, thank you for that, is that Kane should not always be a guaranteed starter? What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's absolutely right. You should be picking players completely on their merit rather than their reputation. It's very difficult to drop Kane, isn't it? Because that he can play 89 minutes, not really touch the ball, and then in 1 minute he can, score a fantastic goal from a ridiculous position. So there is always that. But you've got to look at it in the round, haven't you? If you've got another player who's defending from the front, closing their players down, trying to get turnover of possession just by sheer presence and pressing, which is not Kane's game. All of us want to see a forward who's up there running around trying and pressing down on the goalkeeper, whereas Kane at the moment has been sort of jogging from defender to goalkeeper to other defender, never really going for it. He shouldn't be an automatic pick. Obviously, we need the
Wi-Fi is still a bit patchy, Steve. You're breaking in and out. You're breaking in and out, Steve.
Yeah, but you got to accept that Steve's in a third world country, isn't it? Was it the UK?
He's in Tottenham. No,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, Tottenham. Yeah.
No, you're over the border.
I've the microphone twice now, and it's I'm blaming it on everyone else rather than me.
No, I understand. I mean, you live in a backward place. That's all right.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, Adam, go ahead. What did you want to say about Kane always starting?
Well, first I want to say Most Blunted has put some really good questions across, so fair play to him. Said it the last couple of weeks, we can't rely on Kane. We've been saying this for a couple of seasons now. Unless you're a youngster and you're happy to sit on the bench and learn your trade and come on and do, come in when you want to and try and get a performance, no one's really going to want to sit on the bench and compete against Kane because they know they're not going to get the minutes. I still think, we should have kept Vinicius, extended his loan till we worked out where we were going and who we were going with. I'd like to see us play with 2 up front and actually see that Kane gets...
Yeah, why can't we do that? Did we ever play 2 up front when Vinicius was there?
Only when we were desperate, I think.
Yeah, chasing a game.
Yeah, chasing the game. I'd just like to see it. I know Kane's got a great partnership with Son, but I'd just like to see him with someone else that, Kane loves to come in deep. It doesn't matter what you tell him. He loves to come in deep, whether he gets frustrated and he wants to pick up the ball and get his foot on it. So if that's the case, then, if you've got someone else playing up front that he can just thread it through, fantastic. It would be great to have another striker where there's some sort of partnership like the SAS when you had Shearer and Sheringham. Fantastic. Both really good strikers, intelligent. That's what I'd like to say.
Just a couple of things, guys. When Conte was the pundit on Italian TV, and they was asked about Kane. He said he's one of the best strikers in the world, and but he does most damage when he's in the penalty box. So I've got a feeling that Conte's going to tell him, just stay there, mate.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere else.
That's where it should be.
That's where it should be, shouldn't it?
Son was dropping back a lot more. Can I? I just want to pick
just
up
1 second, Cam. I just wanted, because we've got people making comments, and we want to read about that. So Bob Spurs, I totally agree, but he showed more passion in one match than Nuno's showed in 17 matches.
Yeah.
I mean, Cam was upset because Nuno kept stroking his beard and with oil, and Cam was upset with that. And at least Conte hasn't got a beard that he can stroke, so that I totally agree, Bob.
What I loved about Conte at this last match was there were, I don't know how many fans were there, let's say 50 to 60,000 fans were all screaming, yet Conte on single-handedly was screaming louder than all of them. So how he thought his voice was going to be heard over those 60,000 fans, I don't know, but it never stopped.
So, Cam, let's go back to the comments. What about Lautaro Martinez? Should we go back in for him
I want to say about what we said about Conte before, what Bob said before. Someone can take that up about Martinez, definitely, but I don't think he'll come to us. And that is that it's not just the passion. I mean, the guy brings extreme passion to every job that he does, and he kicks every ball. I told you what I saw when I saw him at Italy when he was playing there. He against Belgium in Euro 2016, Stevie smashed into another one of his coaching staff. He bled from his nose. He actually bled on the field. He kicked every ball. I mean, the guy, though, he's got the technical knowledge, and he's very, very clear about, I think, three things that distinguish Conte for me. Is one of his abilities as a player, that he can speak to them as an equal, because he was one of the best players, and everyone even if he wasn't a coach, you would still respect Conte if you ever watched Italian football when we did in the 90s and the 2000s, because he was a fantastic player to watch. I loved watching Conte in those days. I can still remember it. I'm not that old, but that's one thing that he brings. Secondly, the most important thing is his insistence on levels of fitness and insistence on extreme fitness drives and practices. And he does not cut corners. He doesn't suffer fools who think they don't want to do that. And thirdly, tactically, he's very, very clear what his tactics are and where he wants people to play and how he's going to play his game. And he can adapt the game, but he's very clear where he will want his players to go and what he expects from them on every single game and every single move. And I think that is something that Spurs players haven't seen. Shockingly, Mourinho, you would have expected, the iPad manager, as I call him, would have been shit hot on fitness, but he wasn't. I believe Pochettino was, that Pochettino burnt out. And it was time now that I think that we will start to see those effects from at least game 2 or 3, and I expect to win the next 6 games.
Do you know why Conte's brought in 3 fitness coaches?
Because we're so unfit.
Well,
It's for Ndombele, just to work with Ndombele.
You need to make that 7.
But I mean, I think we said, Adam, that this guy is going to make his assessment really quickly. He's an elite coach. He's going to decide very, very quickly about who he wants, who he doesn't want. This is part of his allure, and they'll be gone in January. And what we need now is for Paratici and Levy to back him, like Bob Spurs said. Trust him. If he says get rid of Ndombele, get rid of this way, just get rid of him and let him do it the way he wants, because he's got a proven model that works. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I do. And I think the only 2 things that could sabotage him is the politics from the board, if they decide to get involved, and some of the player power if they don't get rid of some of the deadwood. I think, these are some of the players who towards the end didn't play for Pochettino anymore. They certainly didn't play for Mourinho, and obviously they were never there for Nuno. And they seem to, Harry Redknapp described it, push good managers out. So that's the only 2 reasons I see that he won't succeed at Spurs.
Yeah, Steve, your thoughts?
I mean, I think he's going to. I think he will succeed. It depends to what level, really. Whether if we can move on to getting back into the Champions League, which is really what we've got to do.
If he got us into the Champions League, do you think if he got us into the Champions League from this point, do you think that's a bigger achievement than winning the title with Chelsea, Steve?
Probably is, actually. Even if he walked into Chelsea when they were 10th, the pockets were deep there, weren't they? They were very, very deep. and we don't know how deep they are going to be here. But I sort of can't believe that he's come without
I can't believe that either.
some guarantees.
Yeah, he's got some. I think Paratici's told him that. Paratici's probably put his neck on the line. Cam, you think it'd be a bigger achievement if we got top 4 from here than what he did with Chelsea?
I think top 4 this year is successful, and I think we should be aiming to win the league next season. I mean, I think that is where we've got to be. I mean, you don't bring a manager like Conte in to then start talking about, please get me into the top 6 or please win me the Carabao Cup. You bring a manager like Conte in, who in our last few years, there's a difference I make between Mourinho, because Mourinho, managers are like dinosaurs. Some go extinct and some, turn into the velociraptors. He's a velociraptor, whereas Mourinho today is a brontosaurus. He moves slowly because people change. And all of Conte's titles have been won recently. And so for me, what is important is we want to win. I want Conte to bring the first Spurs title since the year I was born.
Okay.
And, then I can be happy. And then after that, we can complain about whatever the hell we want to. But my aspiration is in 18 months, Tottenham need to be champions of something.
Evening, Kev. Thanks for joining, buddy. You must have some leverage over Levy. I agree with that. But Adam, do you agree that Conte is putting his neck on the line as well? He's got an elite manager, has won 5 titles in 7 years. He's actually taking a risk coming to Tottenham, isn't he?
Yeah, he's taken a massive risk. He won't think he's taken a massive risk because he's got loads of confidence. He knows his ability. You hear him in the interviews when people praise him on the qualities and what he's won in his career, and he says that's the past. It's been great, but this is the future. And Spurs, I don't know what it is about Spurs, whether they're cursed or what. They can get some fantastic managers, and it just all goes to pot. I just hope I'm confident it will work, and he will get the players in, and he will win something. And I just kind of hope that we manage to keep him because he doesn't stay around long. It's 18 months plus a future 12 months, depending on performances. But I
don't think anything wrong with that. I think that's a good deal.
It works in both ways, but I kind of like him to fall in love with the club and stay longer than what we expect. And just to smash Chelsea when we play them, really. I'd love to see us turn that around instead of
Chelsea,
it every
Arsenal.
time.
I think you're going to see that. I think that the thing that I like about Conte is he's won, you've said it right, 5 titles in 7 seasons. His passion has not diminished one little bit. He hasn't rested on his laurels, very much Mourinho has. Look at him at Roma now, lost the last 6 games. He's doing exactly what he was doing before, blaming the players and blaming everybody else. Blaming the Norwegian weather and the Norwegian pitch and the Norwegian and the referee. But this guy is still as passionate as the first day he put on a jersey when he was playing for Juventus and AC Milan. I mean, and that you can't bottle that. You can't buy it.
I think you said it, didn't you say that Mourinho is the History Channel and Conte is the Discovery Channel? Did you say that? I can't think. It was you. No, I think you've got to go now. You can. Have you got to go? We can carry on with that.
I'll go for a few more minutes. How long are we going on for?
Well, we'll talk until people want us to stop, and then when everybody goes, I might talk on my own, but that's fine.
I'll stay along because I can see Steve's got a little monkey there winding up his Wi-Fi, and when that runs out,
Steve, you got anything to say?
I'm drifting in and out, so if you lose me, you lose me. So I'm sure you'll be heartbroken.
Steve,
we won't be able to Steve. The one that's winding up the Wi-Fi.
Steve, I've spoken to a few people at the game, and they're saying the atmosphere was actually ripping it. Great atmosphere, people really happy. That's a big thing, isn't it? To bring, and they sold 25,000 tickets for the match, but when people found out Conte was in charge, they sold another 20,000. So this is having the right effect, isn't it, Steve?
I think it is. Also, those games where they reduce the price and you get younger people go.
Yeah.
The problem you've got now at football is that they're all closer to my age than they are to young kids coming through because they just can't afford the ticket prices. Yeah. But when they do 25 quid a ticket, or in the past, certainly my son's gone with 8 of his mates because they've got him for a tenner. And when they go, it's a massive occasion for them. And a goal scored, they go absolutely crazy. Whereas, me, I sort of mumble a bit, and maybe I'll stand up. And
it takes you a while to stand up, Steve. That's the problem. I wish to have the goal.
You know, things. Once I've oiled everything and I've mainly get out of my bath.
Okay, let's not talk personal stuff.
Yeah.
But,
so the atmosphere is good when you have the people who don't normally go and are able to afford to go. But I sort of almost see those as the real fans. And I think it's a good thing to do because you need to get the youngsters back into the game. We can't rely on corporate sponsorship and old people.
Yeah. Okay. Adam, who do you think's the untouchables in this team? People who are untouchable, really. They're going to be there. It doesn't matter what Conte, they are definitely going to be there. Name me the players that are untouchable.
I think Son is.
Son and Kane,
purely,
I think.
But I don't know about Kane. I don't know.
Because if he doesn't perform, I don't think Conte's going to be scared to drop him or anything. He doesn't suffer fools lightly, does he?
No, that's it. And he done that with Alexis Sanchez at Inter Milan. So he put him in his box because he wasn't performing. But I think he'll keep Son definitely because of his attitude and how he always seems to work hard in games. Obviously, Lloris until they find a long-term replacement. Romero, Royale,
Regualr.
Possibly, he's still young, he's moldable. He's great going forward, coming back. Sometimes he just switches off, or he doesn't cover. He always seems to. I don't know if you've noticed. He always seems to make the same mistake where, they're attacking down the wing. Or he doesn't push them towards the flag. He just drops off, and then they cut in.
There's a rumor that Real Madrid are going to exercise their buyback option in January.
Yeah, that's been going around, for a while now, isn't it? What is it? 35 or 40 million? It's something like that. I wouldn't be surprised.
I want to say.
Cam, who's your untouchables?
Nobody. Nobody's untouchable.
Not even Heung-min Son.
No. Well, exactly. I'm so glad you raised that because who would have expected Conte to take him off when he did? Son didn't. Nobody did. Not one of you would have taken Son off. Nobody's untouchable, and that's how it should be. Because if we are talking about trusting this manager, if we are talking about asking him to win us a league, then nobody's untouchable. Everybody's got to be up there, and everybody's got to be vulnerable. And that's the only way you're going to get them hungry again. Because when they realize, well, it doesn't matter how crap I play or whatever I do, I'm always going to be on that team sheet, you ain't going nowhere. If you really want to be a team that is going to be talking about us backing that manager, then nobody's untouchable. And I think taking off Son, who was probably our best player up till that time, right? And yesterday was just a mark to say nobody's untouchable. And that's how it should be. Otherwise, we win nothing. When you get into this situation, he's got to stay and he's got to do this, then we're back to where we were before. Nothing gets done. Everybody's got to be on their toes. Otherwise, they ain't winning nothing.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. Spurs said he was at the game. It asked him to say it was electric. Sonny, Højbjerg, and Con kept on going over to listen to Conte's instructions. It's very good, isn't it? At least he's talking to them.
Amazing, yeah.
I didn't ever see Nuno doing any of that. Atmosphere was electric. This is what's going to help, isn't it, Bob Spur? Where the crowd are behind the team, they're going to perform better. The crowd were just nonplussed every time we played under Nuno. I think they didn't know what to expect. Steve, don't you agree that the atmosphere, the ground is going to really help the team?
Yeah, absolutely. That ground has been built to create an atmosphere, to get a champion-winning team and a crowd behind it to make us unbeatable at home. It's been designed to do that. But the football's got to be something you can get behind as well. And hopefully we're now in a situation where we are going to be pressing forward. We're going to have more attacking football and the crowd can get behind it. When you are, passing it around the back, getting 60% possession, but actually getting no shots for 2 hours, then it doesn't matter. The crowd just can't get behind you. When you've got, Lloris raising his blue glove and holding on to the ball for 20 minutes before distributing it and killing everything dead, then the crowd can't get behind that. We've got to get some attacking football, some exciting play, and then the crowd will come.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up very soon, but looking at our fixtures, we've got Everton, we've got Leeds at home, NS Mura away, Burnley away, then we've got Brentford, Norwich, Rennes, Brighton, Leicester. So the rest of this year, we got some pretty decent. The next hardest match, I think, Wednesday the 22nd. Home to Liverpool. Yeah. You should be winning all those games, shouldn't you, Adam?
Brighton and Leicester.
We should do. I think Brentford, will be the first time we're up against them, so they may pull a surprise. Burnley's always been a bogey team for Spurs.
Even Nuno beat them.
Wow.
Yeah, but he's got a good run of games actually to try and build momentum there. Josh is saying the only untouchable is Hugo. That's interesting.
I am going to say.
You guys saw the coaching stuff on the bench and how they never stopped talking about thinking of what to do. I know. Yeah, that's a very good point actually. The coaching at the bench, wasn't it, Cam, was really, really intense, and I could see him shouting, telling Davis where to go. Now, you never saw that under
the Conte steam rolling train will roll all those teams over. I think you've got this engine building up, which is, the guy has got this passion and this craziness that emanates. Because what struck me was at the end of the game, they got all the subs out, and their fitness staff put them through a regime, but they were screaming as loud as Conte. So his infectiousness and his style goes all the way through down to the bottom. The only person who looked out of place for that was Ryan Mason, who didn't know what to look or where the hell he was. He looked the most shell-shocked human being on that bench that I've ever seen in my life. But he's got to get the bug, or he's out, because I think that the Conte train will steamroll those teams, steamroll them out of the way and bust them all up.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, Steve. What do you think about the appointment of Ryan Mason as first team coach?
I was surprised at it, to be honest. Yeah. I think that's a stop to the sort of Spurs continuum, isn't it? I don't know how long it's going to last. Watch this space. I'd like it to last,
He'll learn a hell of a lot from Conte, won't he?
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to think so, yeah.
Adam, what did you think of the appointment of Ryan Mason as first team coach?
Surprised. Kind of like I said, I kind of hope that Ledley King would have been in there. Maybe with Michael Dawson.
I don't know whether they'll get Dawson involved. I really don't understand.
No, I don't know. I hope that Mason doesn't turn into a future Tim Sherwood later on. But no, you could see when the camera went there that Mason was talking to him, and he was probably doing a little bit of translation to some of them and probably talking to him about some of the first team players. And it's great. He'll learn off them. They'll learn off him what he knows about some of the players and their behaviour and how they train and stuff. So I think it's a win-win. It's a smart move.
He's not going to be like Mourinho was Bobby Robson's translator at Barcelona. He's not going to be Conte's translator at Spurs.
I don't think he's got the language skills.
No.
Can I just pick up on that?
There's a question from Marlene. What about your goalie? Marlene, are you a Tottenham supporter? He's our goalie, isn't he?
This is Ed. Ed is a good for Ed and Marlene are both Tottenham supporters from Michigan.
So it's our goalie. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
They've become Tottenham supporters.
I think we've spoken about Hugo Lloris. We say he's an untouchable. He's not going anywhere.
No, what we want to say about them, about the goalie, what they really want to know is the fact that this guy is. You got to know our goalie is a World Cup winner. He's French. He's won a lot of stuff, and he last season before we all thought he's past his prime. But he's had a renaissance, as we would say, because I think Lloris this year has been just incredible. I mean, he looks like, again, a bit like the sweeper keeper that he was before when he comes out. He seems more passionate. And I think he was the only one in the Nuno era that actually seemed to give a crap for the team, to me, in my eyes. Apart from Son and maybe Mora. Nobody else did. Everyone else had given up. And I think that bringing in Conte seemed the other day that looking at him and his passion. I've never seen Lloris ever be really passionate, but I did think I saw something yesterday. So long may it continue, because when Lloris is at the top of his game, the only way you're ever going to win anything is you need your keeper to be the best he's ever been.
I still think he's got to improve his distribution.
Yeah,
it's too slow. It's too slow.
Yeah. Premier Hotspur TV, thanks guys. Thanks for joining the stream. All's well and get excited. Conte will deliver. Mark my words. Click this comment. We totally agree with you, Simon. I think Conte will deliver. We've only got one non-believer in it, which is Steve, who's still wants new
No,
coaches.
Steve's gone. Steve's
Steve's an
gone
unbeliever, Simon. How can you convince him that Conte's the right man, Simon? Come on,
Steve's
convince him.
gone. Hold on. Steve's gone from mid-table to top 6 to now
winning the league.
Champions League to. I'm saying 18 months. We're going to win the league and a cup.
I agree, but Steve wanted Harry Potter to join. That's why he's upset.
Your enthusiasm is infectious, Cam.
Good.
What about this, Adam? We need to let Kane go wherever he wants, and then we said, I think we've talked to death about this, but should we let him go? He might not want to go now because Conte's here.
He doesn't. He doesn't want to go. He said he doesn't want to go. He wants to stay. He wants to see where this gravy train takes him. It's a steamroll. It's a steam train.
I'd love for Kane to go to Man City, and then Conte leads us to the title, and Man City didn't win anything. But how ironic would that be?
Who wants to be on the Conte train? Everyone wants to be on the Conte train. The guy's infectious, like Steve says. Oh, you're talking about me.
I was talking about you. Yeah.
Thanks.
The thing about Hugo is that he gave up on the bottle now. He's he's gone. I don't think he's given up on the bottle, but he's reduced it. Maybe I think. Sahel Fazi needs some new blood. Yes, we spoke about that, Sahel. We need some new signings in January.
Conte's the first new blood, and the guy he'll drain the blood of those that don't play.
What about you? I want to ask Adam his point on this, Adam, and then I'll ask Steve as well, because I know Steve's got some favourite players. Which players would you, if I said to Adam, I want you to recommend a player to Conte, which players would you recommend to him, other than the ones we've already spoken
about? That's a tough one, mate. That is a tough one. I'm trying to rack my brains now on who would I?
What about you, Steve? While Adam's thinking, what about you, Steve? What would you recommend?
You've mentioned players. I don't know that
well, British players. Talk about players you do mention. You know, in the Premier League.
We need the midfield playmaker.
We need an Ericsson type.
Yeah. So who is it going to be, Steve? Who do you recommend?
Well, if in an ideal world we'd get De Bruyne, wouldn't we? But
no. Let's be serious about it. We're not going to get De Bruyne. But what about Hassan Ouar from Olympique Lyonnais or some of these players? What do you think about those guys?
I don't know enough about the players to say.
Steve only knows about Premier League. What about in the Premier League, Steve? Somebody who's gettable. Who would you go for?
Well, gettable. Yeah, I'm racking my brains for a sort of midfield.
Douglas Luiz from Aston Villa.
Maybe.
No.
Are they still perhaps a little level below us? What we really are aiming for?
What about John McGinn, Cam?
No, I think that we've got two players that we're going to get here that are very important to us. One is going to be Frank Kessie. We have Sarr, who's playing a great. God knows why we're such a crap team, and we get one of the most exciting signings and send them off.
No way to Pogba.
Do you know what I mean? Why would he send this guy?
Who's the Chelsea loanee at Crystal Palace?
Oh, Conor Gallagher.
Oh, yeah, Gallagher, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. I mean,
now you see, we wouldn't get him, would we?
No, we wouldn't get
him.
Right. So what I'm going to say, Ray, mark my words, everybody listening out there, wherever you are, is that what Tottenham do not have is one Italian player. We now have the best footballer.
Yeah, we got Galini. What are you talking about?
Who?
Yeah.
Pierluigi Galini.
Oh, Galini. I forget about Galini. All right.
And we got Giovanni Lo Celso.
No,
well, we have someone commented earlier. Romero is as good as Italian.
Best director of football in Italy. That was in Italy, in Paratici.
Paratici. It's actually Paratici, not Paratici.
The best Italian manager that has been produced for a very long time. Watch this space.
What about Michael Antonio? Do you think he'd come to us? Sohail is saying Michael Antonio.
What we need to do is we need to take West Ham and we need to smash the crap out of them and put them back in their place.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what their place is? It's 4 spaces below other London teams between us and them. I mean, the fact that they've actually jump-started and got into the position where they are is a travesty to every Spurs fan who should be, the dead ones should be turning in their graves and the live ones should not be sleeping.
Yeah. Adam, would you take Ndidi? Leicester's Ndidi over Frank Kessie, Adam?
That's a good.
No, I'd like to go for Kessie.
I think Kessie's a different league to Ndidi, isn't he?
Yeah.
Let's see what Premier Hotspur TV. Very interesting interview tonight with Conte when he's saying he wants to be here for a long time and sees us having massive potential. That's actually great. Thanks for that feedback, Premier Hotspur. That's really good. If he wants to stay a long time, that's a good thing, isn't it?
I want to smash West Ham, Arsenal, and then Chelsea, and then I want to talk.
I think Conte's really going to rise to this challenge. He really, if he can say that Mourinho couldn't do it, Pochettino couldn't do it, but I came here and won trophies, That's going to be amazing.
I mean, Nuno's legacy will be he was the first manager to make sure that Arsenal get above us before Abbas being sacked. Because they are above us right now, right?
Arsenal are playing some decent stuff, although it pains me to say it, but they're playing attacking football.
Yes.
Conte is going to beat them, I think.
They won't last. Please.
They won't last, yeah.
But West Ham?
Yeah, they're playing some good football, West Ham. Whenever they go forward, they look like they're going to score.
Their bubble to burst, and it hasn't.
It hasn't bubble burst, yeah. I mean, David Moyes could have been our manager, Steve. You'd been happy with that, wouldn't you?
No.
Oh, yeah. Let's get him in now.
I mean, I think the thing that we haven't said, Ray, is that all the other teams out there who were always banking on Spurs to kickstart their season have now seen Conte come in and their bubbles has been burst because now they're thinking, God, so that means we're not even going to be able to win at Spurs. Because up till now, we even gave Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a pass. We couldn't win.
That was a masterstroke, because if we'd have lost, there's a masterstroke.
Every team sees Spurs as a soft touch.
Yeah,
and that is the first thing that's got to end, just for our own sanity.
Adam, how long do you think the fans are going to give you to turn it around?
I think they give him.
He's already turned it around.
Yeah, I think they're already in love with him. They will give him so much time.
Yeah,
they won't be on his back. They're in dreamland at the moment. So, and it was interesting enough to see John Terry even coming out and posting on his Twitter that Spurs have had this sewn up. So,
Fabregas as well couldn't believe it, could he? Fabregas and Terry hate Tottenham so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we hate them too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, exactly. Conte is the modern Jose. We totally agree with you that we said Conte is the history. Jose is the history channel. Conte is the discovery channel.
Jose is an iPad manager, and Conte is is a top-notch winning player manager. And that's the difference. We don't we've got to understand that the difference between. I mean, it's the first time. Who else have we had that has been like that? Nuno's a goalkeeper. Pochettino was a defender. We've now got one of the world's best in his time creative midfielders running our team as a top-end manager. And that's exactly what we need because the way that we play football, the way that he plays football, I
don't agree with that. There wasn't a euphoria with Jose come because a lot of people said he's a busted flush.
People were dying from COVID.
Yeah. But the one thing that I need to understand, Frank Kessie is a central defensive midfielder. He's not the creative like Everton. Who's going to be the creative spark to get the balls through who would you guys want? Steve?
Well, I've been racking my brains. As you know, I mentioned the...
you wanted Bendia from Norwich. Emiliano Bendia you wanted. From Norwich, I think.
Yeah, I don't know enough about those players, I'm afraid.
No.
That's Steve's stock statement. I don't know enough about those players. I don't know enough about those players.
Seriously, people say to me, I'm going to go to see Spurs, and they say to me, who are they playing? I say, I don't know. I've gone to watch Spurs.
Steve's a politician, don't forget.
All right, well, I'm going to come to Adam. Who do you want? Who can we get as a creative midfielder, Adam, to feed Kane and Vlahovic?
I'm trying to think if he is a creative midfielder, but I don't think he is. I think he's defensive. No, I was going to say Donny van Beek from Man United.
Yeah, maybe. But Eriksen, can't we get him back? Because he can't play in Italy, but he could play in the UK, can't he?
He's a good squad player, but that's it. I wouldn't even take the risk.
Eriksen went to Inter, and he kicked and screamed and behaved like a baby at Spurs before he left. He went to Inter and he thought he'd walk right into that team. And what did Conte do to him? He didn't put him in that team. He put him on the bench. So much so, Eriksen towards the end of the season was begging to come back. But did Conte actually buy Eriksen, or was it just an Inter management decision? Well, it was. I don't know, but I do know that when he did put him in the team, Eriksen started scoring goals. Eriksen started creating things. Up until then, Eriksen was playing like he was for us in the last year. But Conte had no problem benching him most of the time, and at times not even putting him on the bench. And he turned him in when, at the end of it, when they won that league, Eriksen was one of their key players that won that league because he had been taught a very sharp lesson by Conte. You either play, nobody's good enough because of your name. You're only good enough because you're a good enough player. And he made him a better player because when he left Spurs, he was not a good player.
Well, Premier Hotspur TV asking, would you take Declan Rice from Tottenham? I'd definitely take Declan Rice from
Oh,
Tottenham.
definitely.
He won't come to Tottenham now because West Ham hate
No.
us so much, guys.
Yeah.
So they will definitely wouldn't come.
Definitely. No, he's a good player.
He's a very good player, actually. Yeah.
Oh,
We'll
I
definitely
mean, look, West Ham hate us, whatever they do. I want to go back to the days when West Ham become our feeder team again. I mean, this whole thing about West Ham beating Spurs and being above us is really not working for me. They used to be our feeder team, right?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, the best bit of business was when we traded Boba Samora for Jamie and Defoe.
Yeah,
That's the best bit of business I've ever seen.
Yeah, good. All right, guys. Well, listen, we're going to wrap it up now. I think you guys need to get your beauty sleep, especially Cam. Look at the state of him, man. He looks like Captain. Actually, we've got a new name for Cam. We're going to call him Captain Kirk. He's got his Star Trek shirt on. He's Captain Kirk. But thank you. I want to give thanks before we close to Silence, Most Blunted, Marlene, Amanda Fazy, Sohail Fazy, Terry Wright, Bob Spur, Grandpa Stevens, Premier Hotspur TV.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody, for watching the stream. We really appreciate it. Thanks for all your questions. Really, really good. Please spread the word to your friends.
Prediction.
And Spurs family. I was going to come to that if you let me finish.
Sorry.
Do you want to run the show? You can. I can take a day off.
Go, carry on.
Okay. So thanks to everybody for coming on and commenting. We really appreciate it because without you guys, we're nothing really. What I wanted to Premier Hotspur TV. Got one last comment. Let's see. We need to give him world beats. Yeah, totally agree, guys. Totally agree. We've got to give him the right place, and I think he'll get them. I do think he'll get them. Let's do a prediction for Everton then. I'm going to come to Adam first. What's your prediction for the game against Everton?
3-1 Spurs.
Oh man.
Okay, Cam.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think 3-1 or 3-2, but I think that we will.
I forgot Kev Alexander and Kev Alexander as well. Sorry, buddy, forgot you, mate. Thank you very much for joining. Sorry, Cam. What was that?
3-1.
3-1. Steve.
2-2.
Oh, come on, Steve.
2-2 to who?
I think we're still Spurs.
Yes.
We're still the team that, have been bloody crap, basically. And we're up against another bad team whose defence is as bad as ours. So 2-2.
Well,
2-2 to who, Steve?
Sorry?
2-2 to who? To Tottenham, yeah?
We're gonna thrash them 2-2.
Yeah. Premier Hotspur TV. Clean sheet ratio. Thank you very much, Premier Hotspur TV. Really appreciate you guys watching. And we're going to watch all your streams as well. We're going to give you some questions. I've got my prediction. I'm going to go 2-1 Tottenham Hotspur.
Can I say one thing before we do?
You can say two things if you want.
Mourinho, first 3 games, he won. Nuno, first 3 games, he won. You're telling me that Conte is not going to win his first 3 games at least?
Good point. Good point.
Let me throw this question in for all of you. I think it'll be quite good. If you got offered Pickford, would you take him to compete with Lloris? If you could sign Pickford, would you take him?
No.
I don't think personally I would take him. He's got too many errors in him. Not that Lloris hasn't, but
why to have 2 error-prone keepers?
But what I would say to you, Adam, there's a lot of other goalkeepers better than Pickford that I'd take.
Yeah.
I don't think Pickford is the best English goalkeeper. I think he does pull off some really.
Well, let me just expand on Adam's question. Let me expand on Adam's question. If you had a choice between Nick Pope and Pickford, who would you take?
Steve?
No, I would go for Pickford. Pickford's changed. If you look at it, he changed his body shape this season. He's become slimmer and more mobile. And hopefully he's become not quite as mad. So I'm hoping he's calmed down and sorted out his physique. That's what I would say.
What about Sam Johnson? Adam, Sam Johnson?
Yeah, he's highly rated. I haven't seen loads of him.
I haven't seen him either.
I know he's quite highly rated.
We're gonna need a replacement for Hugo eventually. He's 34 now. I don't know how long.
Yeah.
Donnarumma. I take Donnarumma.
Yeah, but he's not coming. I don't think Galini's the answer either.
No.
Josimar is saying he's going to be 3-1, so he's just copying what Cam said. Thank you, Josimar. Thank you very much
I hope you're
for joining. I forgot to say Josimar as well. I'm going mad. Thank you,
Josimar,
you know what? For joining the stream.
Remember, Hosmar, his name is, but you know what? It's 1-3 because it is an away game.
Yeah.
Oh, let go.
Emilio Bandilla. Yeah, Martinez is a good goal.
What a foolish thing to do. He's a great keeper. I like that guy.
Yeah. All right, guys. Listen, thank you to all our people. Thank you to all our hosts for making the time and trouble to join. We wish everybody a great weekend and a safe weekend. And here's hoping to Tottenham win on Sunday against Everton. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
Take guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
See you later.